Hello there. Thanks for tuning in to your favorite news destination. You're watching In Your Interest with me, Kabir Naqvi. And our first segment is quite interesting. Take a look at this. Because if you're talking about innovation and the Impact AI Summit is underway, innovation is not renaming, it's not rebranding, it's not repackaging. And if you really want to lead the AI century, we cannot afford to control C, our credibility, and control V, ambition. Well, let's break it down for all our viewers. Tonight, we look at a controversy that has cast a shadow over India's flagship AI summit. It was meant to be a showcase of indigenous breakthroughs and the Make in India spirit, but instead, it has turned into an international embarrassment. At the heart of this storm is Galgotias University. At the summit, Galgotias University displayed a robotic dog at their pavilion, their AI Expo kiosk. A faculty member described it as an in-house innovation developed by the university's Center of Excellence. But soon after, people online pointed out that this Robodog, named Orion, is actually a product from the Chinese company called Unitree. It's their GO2 model, which anyone can buy for around 2 to 3 lakh rupees. And needless to say, this led to a lot of criticism, with many saying that the university was exhibiting artificial intelligence by passing off a foreign product, that to Chinese, as their own. And if that wasn't enough, the university also showed a soccer drone, claiming it was built from scratch with end-to-end engineering done on campus at the same Center of Excellence. They said it was India's first drone soccer arena for students to practice their flying skills. But again, observers found it looks like and just the quadcopters from South Korea made by a company called HealthCell. Social media posts showed side-by-side comparisons, raising more doubts about the claims. And as the controversy went out of control, government ordered the university to, vacate the pavilion immediately. That should not overshadow other credible participants. Fair point. Authorities stepped in to maintain fair representation at the summit. But Galgotias University responded by blaming its faculty. In their first clarification, they said, Galgotias has not built this Robodog, neither have we claimed that we have built it. Innovation knows no borders. Learning should not either. This is not about importing technology, it's about inspiring transformation. I unquote. Now, minutes later, in a second clarification, Galgotias University apologized profusely for the confusion created at the AI summit. They called, and I quote again, one of our representatives manning the pavilion was ill-informed. She gave factually incorrect information and was not authorized to speak to the press.
बहुत बड़ा कंफ्यूजन हुआ. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई वुड लाइक टू अपोलोजाइज कि अगर कुछ मिस इंटरप्रेट हुआ है, क्योंकि जो हम कहना चाह रहे थे वो शायद बहुत स्पष्ट तरीके से सामने नहीं आया. सो व्हाट वी रियली वांटेड टू एक्सप्रेस टू द ऑडियंस इज दैट Galgotias University is incurring huge investments in artificial intelligence. That Robodog was one such investment. We have given it our name, Orion. वो यूनिवर्सिटी में क्या क्या करता है हमने ये सारी चीज़ें बताई, उसके बेसिक फीचर्स क्या हैं हमने वो बताया. वी नेवर क्लेम्ड कि ये हमने मैन्युफैक्चरिंग किया है इसका.
हमने कभी क्लेम नहीं किया कि हमने इसको मैन्युफैक्चर किया. हमने कहीं उसका लोगो भी हाइड करने की कोशिश नहीं करी. हमने केवल ये कहा कि हमने इसको अपने यूनिवर्सिटी में एज अ पार्ट ऑफ द इन्वेस्टमेंट हम इनको लेके आए हैं ताकि बच्चे उससे इंटरैक्ट करें और उसको एक्सप्लोर करके रिसर्च और डेवलपमेंट के पर्पस से लाए.
बेसिकली सर ये रोबो हमने एक भारतीय कंपनी के थ्रू खरीदा है. हो सकता है चाइनीज़ हो सकता है उन्होंने चाइना से एक्सपोर्ट किया हो. हमने भारतीय कंपनी से ख़रीदा है और इसको ख़रीदने का पर्पस साफ़ है. हम अपना एक्सप्लेनेशन दे भी चुके हैं कि हमें अपने छात्रों को सिखाने के लिए हमारे छात्रों को ये सीखना है कि टेक्नोलॉजी है क्या और उससे बेहतर टेक्नोलॉजी हम कैसे बना सकते हैं.
वहाँ जो आपके रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हैं डॉक्टर नेहा जी एचओडी बताया जा रहा है, क्या उनको इस मसले की जानकारी नहीं?
नहीं, उनको मसले की जानकारी थी. मैंने वही कहा कि कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि दो शब्दों का फेर है, डेवलप और डेवलपमेंट.
आप कह रहे स्लिप ऑफ टंग है?
हाँ, स्लिप ऑफ टंग है. डेवलप और डेवलपमेंट, डेवलपमेंट के लिए लाया गया है, डेवलप नहीं किया. अगर डेवलप किया होता तो फिर कोई कंपनी क्लेम ही नहीं करती. डेवलप किया क्या होता तो फिर हम तो बहुत अच्छी तरीके से इसको शोकोस करते कि हमारे बच्चों ने डेवलप किया है.
Well, if they did not hide the actual model's name, why did they present it under the garb of Orion? And if it was brought in to teach kids, why wasn't it kept at the center of excellence back in the university? Why was it brought to the AI Expo in the first place? And this raises a much larger question about the AI Summit itself. How did this slip through? With over 840 exhibitors spread across 70,000 square meters, it appears the organizers relied on trust rather than rigorous technical vetting. Whilst flagship products were closely monitored, general pavilions were left to a self-certification culture that has clearly backfired. The row at the AI Summit has become political as well. Congress, the opposition, claimed that India has been made a laughingstock. They pointed to global embarrassment, mentioning mockery in Chinese media and on social media platforms. There was a direct hit on the IT minister. Leaders like Priyanka Chaturvedi asked about Ashwini Vaishnav's role and if he knew about it. They wondered if it was fraud for cheap PR, maybe even staged for attention. They alleged mismanagement at the summit, connecting it to bad internet, too many people at one time, and stolen AI wearables. Rahul Gandhi raised concerns about data sovereignty, saying the focus on PR ignored risks to Indian data and AI ethics. We've got an informed panelist with us tonight. Big questions that we are asking on the show. If a university can display imported technology as their own at a high-profile government summit, does our self-certification system need an immediate overhaul? Is this a faculty failure or a systemic lie? Is it believable that a lone representative made these claims, or was this a calculated move by the institution for publicity? What about the impact on real innovators? Doesn't this controversy diminish the hard work of thousands of Indian startups and students who are actually building original technology right from the ground up? With us on In Your Interest tonight, Kanish Gaur, digital technology and AI expert. Febin John James, founder, AI Board, with us on the broadcast, and Amit Dubey, AI and public policy expert. Kanish, let's quickly start talking about this. People are making all sorts of memes on social media, but how does a Chinese commercial product get showcased as an in-house innovation? There's a lot of cover-ups that have actually happened after that. They've come and apologized as well. But this is a national AI summit. We're touting this to be, the first of its kind in the global south. And at the highest level, where was the screening mechanism? You've, attended some of those keynote speeches. You've been part of the AI Impact Summit. Where do you think this went wrong? Credibility versus ambition. And credibility has taken a massive hit here. There's no beating around the bush.
See, for the impact arena, where you've got private businesses, education institutions coming and showcasing their products and categories, they are literally buying out the pavilion. It's more of a commercial arrangement. So you could pay 10, 15, 20, 25 lakh rupees and get some space in the pavilion. Now, in terms of what you showcase is not verified and validated. That's one of the biggest issues. So you don't have levers to pull and validate who's exhibiting what. Now, it is utter stupidity at the end of the faculty who's come and spoken that a Chinese robot is something which the students of Galgotias University have created. I would blame it on the faculty. Second, I think the leadership at Galgotias University needs to go back and do critical thinking. They are such a big brand, at least in north of India, that the faculty who they are putting forward to should be rightly informed and should know what they are talking to the press. If someone who is going and talking such stupid messages to the press, then you need to have the right corporate communication. I don't think so. The university realized that in the name of marketing, in the name of showcasing AI, in the name of showcasing what they are doing, they would actually shoot themselves in their foot by bringing such faculties who are completely ill-informed. So it will tell you that the leadership needs to have more checks and balances.
No, that's a fair point, Kanishk. I mean, the faculty has, of course, and what we're learning right now is that Professor Neha Singh, I think she's been shunted out as well. Her LinkedIn profile says open for work. I don't know what that exactly means. There's not an official...
No, so it is not just blaming the faculty. Let me clear this about
exactly,
ownership.
But I'm trying to understand, where was the mandatory technical verification? I mean, you can buy your kiosk for 15, 20 lakh rupees, but then what you showcase there, I mean, this is a high level, national event that's taking place. There ought to be some credibility with the verification.
See, I'm telling you, this is a private pavilion. You buy out space, you spend lakhs of rupees. Now it is up to you. So you basically need to have people who are ethical. Now that's my biggest consideration. While as India as a country, we make fantastic softwares. But when it comes to hardware, we have this habit of cheap mimicry of copying Chinese products and claiming them to be ours. And this is not the first time it has happened. There are multiple companies which are importing hardware and claiming them to be their own. And it has happened in the electronic EV segment as well. Most of the manufacturing happens from China. We collate it and then try and project it as our own. And then say it Atmanirbhar Bharat or Make in India. This is the same thing that has happened. And it is a shameful event that a university like Galgotia was not able to prevent something like this from happening. The onus is completely on the leadership. They should come out and talk and give a strong messaging and how they would prevent this from happening. If they are claiming to be investing...
That very leadership that you're talking about, they're hiding behind the words develop and development. They're saying, let's not confuse develop with development. This was brought in to help the children with the development. I mean, I just don't understand. You're hiding under those garbs. You're absolutely right. This is shameful.
You're absolutely right.
It's absolutely shameful. Mr. Dubey, you know, how do you look at this?
Apology.
They should actually, they should come out. Does this incident reflect a larger problem? I mean, the Chinese media portals have had a field day. Look at the memes, look at some of those posts. Hype is overtaking substance, and this is India trying to lead the AI ecosystem, and that's when Orion, Unity GO2 comes to the fore, barking up the wrong tree robotically.
I think this is not the problem of only Galgotia. This is a problem of Indian mindset for innovation. And I have seen many such scenarios, situations, showcasing of stolen products with the name of, with different names and branding it differently. This has become a practice, and this has been accepted in many situations. This was one of the biggest events. This is exposed, and that's why we are discussing about it. But if you see, if you go a little deeper, even many softwares, even many large language models of AI, which has been claimed that these are indigenous, I doubt, because if you see the way it has been developed, the performances and the features that they are supporting and the claims that they are making, it is not possible with those kind of investments and resources. So there are questions for sure, but we have taken it lightly all the time. We think like branding is more important than the substance. We always try to sell things before we believe that it is actually good enough to showcase. This has been seen many a times, and I am observing it. That's why I'm thinking that this is not a problem of Galgotia. Each one of us should think twice, and we should also analyze ourselves when we are claiming something that this is our indigenous product. How much of Indian substance is there? How much research we have done? How many patents do you have? Nobody talks about it. It's just like you can show some magic, you show some thrill over there and getting claps and awards, and that's enough. That's enough to fetch students, to sell some services, or to establish a credible brand in India. So
Mr. Dubey, take a look at this. I mean, the problem is so foundational. Kanishk, yourself, you know, so many other AI experts, we've been talking about it for the last fortnight, that we need to retrain millions at that scale. We're talking about the Niti Aayog roadmap for the next, 10 years, from $350 billion to $850 billion. And right now, we're discussing societal mindset. If that mindset is not changed, can we really dream of leading the AI architecture? We're calling it, turning a new leaf. There is a big churn that's happening. India will become a developers nation. But we're still busy controlling C and controlling V, other people's AI products. Mr. Dubey.
Yeah, for sure. This is not even control C, control V. They have not even copied it. They do not know anything about the product. They have not even opened the hardware. They are just claiming it that they have developed. This is really shameless attitude, and I'm sure that many other companies, many other products, those we see in India as an hardware, indigenous hardwares, and unfortunately, the companies those are actually manufacturing indigenous hardware. They have been not even invited. I can give you many such company names that they have done wonderful products. So this is a tyranny, and this is an irony that the company those can do better marketing or can claim big they are always welcomed by government and the company those are actually doing the groundwork or showcase or building products from the root or
on our screens right now, Mr. Dubey, if you can see the PGM on the screens, do you see the Chinese robots doing all kinds of martial arts? Look at that. That's straight out of a Shaolin movie. That's what they're doing, and we're busy copy pasting. Feb and John, let me bring you in on this front. What do you make of this video that you see? Compare this with the Robodog that was in a very shameful manner escorted out of the AI Expo. I mean, at a time when India is positioning itself as a global AI power, how damaging is this for our credibility, Feb and John?
Yeah, so I think this is a wake-up call, and primary reason being that this exposes India itself as, I think it's good that it exposes India in the right way, that people can wake up and say that, hey, we need to build these things in-house. We need to invest in the in manufacturing, in robotics, and even in large language models. So basically, what I can say is that in India, even startups and even major companies who have a good amount of cash flow as well are very hesitant to invest when the investment resource is very high. For example, buying a lot of GPUs is something very expensive.
Yeah.
Building in-house robotics and manufacturing, setting up the infrastructure, it's very costly. So they don't want to lose money and take that risk as such. So I think I just converge on. I agree with Dubey, and I will just say that two things which he said. One is India is very back off on investments. Second is that we are just trying to market things out, and in the name of marketing, we are losing out a lot of really good innovations out there.
All right, Kanishk, there's a big difference between using a product for research, which was then a big cover-up by some of those faculty members. The registrar put out a big press release as well. So the difference between using a product for research and developing a product, how does in terms of AI innovation, in terms of pedagogy, in terms of curriculum, for all those students that are doing there, let's not, put a bad light on all the good work that India is also doing. How critical is that distinction? For the layman out there that's busy watching those memes and probably bad-mouthing all the good things that have happened here, using a product for research versus actually developing a product?
So you need to give proper referencing, even if you are using a certain product for research or for further innovation, until and unless you don't give proper referencing and acknowledgement, it is cheating, it is plagiarism. And this is something which the university needs to teach, not only to its students, but also to its faculty, right? So you need to understand there is a big difference in terms of what is being taught in these universities versus what is required on ground if Bharat wants to be an innovator and a leader in artificial intelligence. Now, this is a clear message of what is lacking on ground.
Yeah.
Millions of students spend lakhs of rupees taking loans, their parents selling their lands and sending their children to these universities in the name of marketing gimmick of AI, which is sold to them. And then lakhs of rupees of package saying the students have got placed. But sometime down there is this harsh reality that what students are being taught, what they are learning, are they actually in that state to be placed in those institutions? Or are we just creating more copycats whose job is to do offshoring back-end work? The real innovation will change when we start treating ourselves better by being honest and transparent. That's why a lot of times the Indian shining armor loses its edge in international arenas. Imagine something like this happening in an international arena. It would have been a global embarrassment.
Yeah.
Now, this has happened in India, right? So you would see, how would this be rated? You always put yourself in that third-rate category by doing such incidents. So it is not only a systematic failure for the university, but also a systematic failure, which is taking away the credit from millions of innovators who are building tech, who are building actual robots. I was there at the Bharat AI Summit.
Yeah.
And at the AI Summit, there were tremendous amount of new entrepreneur startups who are actually making robots. And they are from states like Jharkhand, Bihar, from the rural parts. They have not gone to fancy institutions, but are actually trying to build something more innovative.
Yeah.
So it takes away the light, right? So my view is let's focus on what is the innovative work which is happening and ignore such universities. They will ultimately bear the brunt of having such faculties, and their leadership needs to take more active stance on putting a better foot forward and coming out much more stronger. So it is an opportunity for Galgotias University to prove themselves that what innovation they can do by building strong credentials or having better faculty or doing more research and they should take this with a pinch of salt and try and produce better, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
let's focus on what has been built, and there are enough startups. Sarvam was there, Gyani was there. I can talk about who are building fantastic learning models, and there are enough hardware companies who are out there. And so let's not ignore through what Galgotias
By no
University
means
did.
is this show
Look
meant
at what
to badmouth or put a bad light on all the good work that's happened. Let me make it absolutely clear. But we do need to talk about this. We do need to bring this, into the public domain. Mr. Dubey, first and foremost, what do you make of all the clarifications that have come from Galgotias University? Why call it Orion? Why bring it to the AI Expo? It could have been, all of this could have been avoided had it been kept at that center of excellence where people would have learned from it. There's no, shame in acknowledging that you brought in a Chinese product to learn from it. But then to expose it, to put it in the AI Expo as their own, calling it end-to-end engineering, even with that, Striker, soccer drone, to call it that this has been developed end-to-end in those various media chunks. I mean, if a university is buying imported hardware, writing their own AI stack on top of it, where is genuine indigenous creation? Where is it? I mean, help the viewers understand. I'm at a loss.
I think that even the press release that they have shared or drafted, it has been probably created through ChatGPT or some AI model. They would not have used their brain to write it because it is so balanced, perfectly balanced, that saying nothing and saying everything. It's like that.
Wow.
So
I hadn't thought about that.
They would have used some very intelligent prompt to draft this. But I think, we need to think holistically. This is not the problem of Galgotia. I have not said that. I'm not blaming Galgotia for this. I'm saying this is a mindset problem. If you see the number of PhDs holders that we have in India, how seriously are they doing research? How many of them are doing serious research? Not everyone. I'm not saying that everyone is doing taking shortcuts, but most of them are actually taking some shortcuts. They are using some means to even somehow pass through those processes and get the degree. So the research is missing here. The real research is missing. How many patents do we have? How many real patents do we have? Sometimes I have seen some bookshops where you can purchase a PhD thesis and you can publish on your name. So this is happening.
Yeah.
I have seen the MTech thesis being sold in the market. I have seen even all other research work, whatever has been done wherever. You will see in every city some shop where you can buy these research, you can just do some changes. Now you can do it much easily through AI. My point is, I'm not blaming those people. They are also trying to get that degree so that they can get some job. That's it. They are not entrusted to research. They are forced to do this research. They are
But
not
then
willing.
isn't that adding up to our hollow human force, Mr. Dubey?
It is. That's why I think Narayan Murthy has said once that most of these graduates are they're not useful. We can't even hire them because all these engineering colleges, they're not teaching them anything. No skill, just theoretical knowledge.
Clearly something is fishy. Something's not adding up. Something's definitely wrong.
So my problem is, are we serious about this problem? Or we are still trying to hide it? Okay, no, nothing has bad happened. I think we should retrospect everything and we should redesign our education.
Absolutely. It's high time.
And this is a high time. We really need a skilled force.
Okay.
We can't just create garbage and then struggling to become number one, number two, number three. This is not the problem.
You were talking about PhD thesis. Today, a couple of, blog posts have also spoken about the same Galgotias University that had a research paper thesis that was given out to a doctorate, candidate that was studying about sound waves and the impact of vibrations on the COVID-19, virus. I mean, this is the same university that also gave light and way to a doctorate of that kind. Research and, good pedagogical discussions and discourses where, things will certainly go forward. But, Feb and John, completely run out of time here. Final say to you is blaming an ill-informed representative because, like I mentioned earlier, the LinkedIn page of that particular professor says open for jobs. Now, we don't have official confirmation whether she's been shunted out or not. but in the face of all the media and the cameras that were, surrounding and gathering around the kiosk over there at the AI Expo, they were at least brave enough to at least, open their mouth and talk about it. Now they've been completely shunted out. So, the blame has been shifted on this quote-unquote ill-informed representative. Is that enough? Or like Kanish said, institutional responsibility lies higher. We need a public apology right in front of everybody.
I think it's important to come out as as honest as possible, because otherwise it just creates a distrust for the university itself. But besides that, I think it's again an opportunity for the university to think harder and really invest this time in acknowledging the mistake and move forward as such. But rather than that, I don't have anything much to say here. Yeah.
All right. We'll leave it at that. Many thanks, gentlemen, for joining us here on that front. Febin, Kanishk and Mr. Dubey, always a pleasure to have you with us here on News 9. Innovation is not branding, it's not renaming, and it's certainly not repackaging. Credibility has certainly taken a hit. But if India really wants to lead the AI century, we cannot continue to do Control-C for our credibility and then Control-V for ambition. A shameful chapter, but let's hope that we can soon move beyond that, because on the other hand, China is building some fantastic robots that are doing martial arts on the other hand. Compare that with this Robodog, and this Robodog is also not originally created in our centers of excellence. It's been brought from a Chinese company. We're going to slip into a quick commercial breather here. Our second segment, and an important one, coming right on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
रश्मि, ये मैडम बड़े शहर से छोटे शहर बसने जा रही है, बताओ। छोटे छोटे शहरों में ही तो है बड़े बड़े अखाड़े, नए नए दावपेच सीखेगी और फ्यूचर में मेडल जीतेगी। पर बेटा, इनका फ्यूचर?
बड़े पापा, SBI लाइफ से इनका फ्यूचर सिक्योर है।
अभी तो इसकी जीत के इरादा पक्का है। करो पूरे अपने इरादे, अपनों से किए सभी वादे। SBI लाइफ अपने लिए, अपनों के लिए।
Every champion's journey starts with second thoughts.
क्या हुआ?
Till they see it's possible and there is someone who truly believes in them.
एक दिन बहुत बड़ा आदमी बनना है ना?
Orchids, the international school, raising 85,000 champions across India.
पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता, उछलता है, दौड़ता, कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
Thanks for staying with In Your Interest. Our second segment tonight is on the Kerala Story 2, Goes Beyond trailer. And there is a frenzy amongst the netizens. They're calling it propaganda. Some are calling it a brutal truth. Let's break that down for all our viewers. We turn our attention for segment 2 to the silver screen, which is once again becoming a battleground for India's communal and political discourse. The trailer for the Kerala Story 2, Goes Beyond, has officially dropped. But this time, the narrative is no longer confined to the borders of one state. The sequel follows the stories of 3 young Hindu women from different parts of the country. One narrative is set in Rajasthan, where a family files a complaint about their teenage daughter being coerced into conversion. Another unfolds in Madhya Pradesh, showing a woman manipulated through a relationship. The third touches back on Kerala, tying back to the original film's themes. The trailer opens with a warning that India could become an Islamic state under Sharia law in the next 25 years. A clarion call of sorts. And this has raised eyebrows and divided opinions right away. The filmmakers claim the story is inspired by multiple real-life court cases. They say they've done months of research, looking at FIRs and meeting victims, but claims of widespread coercion and under Sharia law over the next 25 years, India becoming an Islamic country, they remain unverified and, needless to say, debated. The sequel is likely to reignite the love jihad controversy. And fact checks from the first film showed exaggerated numbers like the 32,000 conversions to ISIS, which had no solid evidence. Similar questions are coming up now about the sequel's demographic warnings and depictions of mass exploitation. The original film focused on Kerala and Kerala state-based radicalization and faced accusations of hate speech, leading to bans, to protests, and even violence in some areas. It got political backing from the BJP with endorsements and tax exemptions in some states. And critics called it propaganda that polarized communities. Now, with a pan-India scope covering Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and needless to say, Kerala, the impact could be broader. Netizens are split, with some seeing it as a brutal truth and others as Islamophobia timed just right for elections. Big questions that we are trying to decode. With the first film's 32,000 claim proven to be a gross exaggeration, how much of the 25-year Islamic State warning in the sequel is backed by credible intelligence versus creative license? At a time when communal harmony is fragile, does the release of such high decibel films contribute to public awareness or merely serve to fuel inauthentic behavior and hate speech? With us on the broadcast, Brinda Adige, social activist. Brinda ji, let's get the snowball rolling here. I don't know if you've seen the trailer yourself or not, but right at the beginning, the 25-year warning, in the next 25 years under Sharia law, this is going to be an Islamic country. The trailer opens with that warning. Do such sweeping claims, do they strengthen public awareness or does it risk creating more fear, creating more polarization? Where do you stand on this particular front, in your opinion, opening submissions?
It creates more polarizations. There is a lot of divisiveness that is being propagated by statements or dialogues and scenes like this. And probably to put in that intimidation and fear into us. We are India. You can never expect us to fall on our face for something like that. The British were here with us for just about 200 plus years. And they too went. Our ethos, our history, our resilience to our culture, maybe sometimes all our prejudices will be there. That is us. So when these kind of opening scenes come, I have to ask one question. Why did the censor board allow it? Is it not wrong on your part to allow a film to come with something like that, to create that fear and intimidation in me? Oh my God, next 25 years, what will happen to my children? What will happen to my grandchildren? Should I allow you to even make that kind of a statement, even if you, in whatever sense you believe that it is true? I know that I will not let you become that, make me do that. How dare you decide that you will make me into an Islamic state? Why did the censor board allow it?
Okay. But, the critics, then they say that this is a propaganda, but the supporters are calling it brutal truth. And the filmmakers themselves say that, they've done a lot of research behind it. There's a lot of FIRs that have been, rustled up, and they've spoken to some of those victims. They've met those victims personally. This is an actual problem that India now needs to tackle.
Yes, that may be one part of the story or one part of our debate and our argument. But we must go back to our statutory bodies. NIA has very clearly told that there is no such Kerala story. So if we are saying that there are 10 stories from 8 states, there are 40 stories from 40 states, NIA is also bothered and concerned. I mean, they will do their job whether you like it or not, or I like it or not. Now they have come forward and said, we have not been able to garner that evidence, establish that in court. So there is a rigor attached to some kind of an proving of such an evidence. And it has to be proven in the court of law, not before you and me. So if NIA comes and says that, who should I believe? A film that comes up, or should I believe NIA? I know NIA is a responsible body, a statutory body, and I will only believe them.
Okay. Rahul Ishwar, author and activist, also with us on the broadcast. Brutal truth or hate propaganda, Rahul? I don't know if you've seen the Kerala Story 2 trailer, but supporters say the film exposes coercive conversions that are often ignored, and critics like Brindaji was talking about call it exaggerated and politically timed. She's also speaking about intimidation that comes with it, the polarization that comes with it, and the NIA giving a clean chit that, this is not the case. So where does one draw that line?
Two submissions. It's a mixture of fact and fiction, of reality and exaggeration is the unfortunate sad truth. See, I'm a Gandhian. I vouch for Hindu-Muslim unity, and I'm against anything like an ultra-right-wing propaganda. At the same point of time, Vrindaji will also concede that even father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi's son, was forcefully converted, and he later came back. Mahatma Gandhi's son, Harilal, was forcefully converted to Harilal Abdullah Gandhi by hardliners at that point of time, and Swayam Mahatma Gandhi has written about it. He has written in a letter to Times of India at that point of time. So forced conversions were there as a reality in India for a long period of time. But I concede that astronomical exaggeration should not be there. That's the reason why Mahatma Gandhi said, or Gandhians have always said, we should have pluralism and we should have anti-forced conversion law. I concede there are some people who do some kind of extreme exaggeration to score political brownie points. For example, Kerala Story 1, it was the story of 3 girls. That's true, because I know them personally. But it got exaggerated to 32,000. Nimisha, Fatima, Sonia, Sebastian, Mariam. These were 3 real stories, 3 real experiences. But unfortunately, they exaggerated to such an extent that 32,000 becomes a ridiculous astronomical, exaggeration. So I think we should find the truth somewhere in the middle path. We should be sensitive, and let us remember our Muslim brothers.
Rahul, I appreciate your submissions. I'm just saying that, for the larger multitude out there, this seems like a little bit of a homework that needs to be done. For those that are buying movie tickets and going to watch this, who's going to tell them? They're ill aware of all of this. Maybe you're educated on this front. They are maybe not so well educated. So a clarion call that starts and the movie begins by saying that under the Sharia law, 25 years, it's going to turn into an Islamic state. How does that weigh into the psyche? I know it's astronomical exaggeration, but that has to be stopped if that is the case, and it's wrong.
2 submissions. First of all, Kerala is a land of communal harmony, pluralism, and we are proud of that. When we go to Shabarimala, ritualistically and religiously, we go to a mosque before we go to a temple. And Ayyappa's best friend was a Muslim called Vavar, and there is an Islamic shrine inside Shabarimala. And their another close friend was Velita, who is a Christian, and we also go to the Christian church there. But Hindu right-wing, or let me say the hard right-wing, they have raised some genuine issues regarding forced conversions. For example, Nimisha Fatima, Sonia Sebastian and all. See, it's a very layered issue. It's a it's a very nuanced issue. I have personally involved in things like Akhila Hadia's issue, where I supported Akhila Hadia. It's a very complex issue, but one submission from a Gandhian perspective would be, we should think about something like an anti-forced conversion law. That's one. Second, we should not put our Muslim brothers into some kind of insecurity. Their Muslim youth should not be facing some kind of a hate propaganda every day. They will also feel demeaned. They will also feel belittled. So we have to be sensitive regarding the Islamophobic content. At the same point of time, there may be some one-off issues, but these things should not be ignored either. So it's a very complex, very complex and nuanced debate. I concede one point, being a right-winger, I'm a Hindu right-wing activist, that propaganda should not be the order of the day, but some informed criticism can be done, because some people have gone. For example, Kerala Chief Minister has brought out a statistics of 105 people. So such informed criticism can be there, not blatant propaganda.
That's a great submission. And, Brindaji, look at what Rahul has brought to the table. He's giving us such beautiful anecdotes and, about the ethos of Kerala, giving us some of those stories as well. If coercion in relationships or religious conversion is actually happening, rather than cinema, inflaming those tensions, how do we turn that into strong legal safeguards? Something that, Rahul was also talking about. Isn't that the need of the hour? Because there is a problem. Let's not exaggerate that problem. But then how do we tend to that problem as well on the legal front?
As far as I know, South India has had this kind of a give and take and a very, very harmonious relationships with all religions. We were celebrating Ramzan as much as Deepavali, as much as Christmas, as much as Easter. And I, from a very young age, all of us know that we, as children, we love food. And we were used to we wait for food from all of these people, all kinds of goodies and all that. Now, when did all of these intimidation, this fear begin is a question to be asked. What Rahul Ishwar has pointed out is exactly what I want to support 100%. What is the need, though, for an anti-conversion law when we already have laws, we already have sections? And the sections are nothing, they are not loose, diluted sections. They are very strong sections. Why is it that those sections are not being utilized by the police or by the people who have been affected? They can go and say, I have been forced to convert. I don't need an anti-conversion law, because what we are seeing over the last couple of years is weaponization of the anti-conversion law. In the name of that law, you have mob vigilante coming inside churches and mosques and vandalizing it and ill-treating, violating, causing violence on people, even inside their homes. Now, that is not something you and I want in mother of democracies. You are praying inside your house. You are worshipping inside your house. Can I come inside your house and say, how dare you worship?
That's a great point, ma'am. But then what's the way out here? I mean, something's got to give. Rahul was talking about how this is a nuanced problem. This is a complex problem. How do we help the larger multitude out there?
Education. Like I asked the question, the censor board should have said, how dare you make that kind of a statement over there? We are a nation, we are a country that has always prided ourselves in respecting each other. And we will not take anything sitting down. We will not be sitting there and saying, yeah, you can convert me or you can unconvert me or whatever that might be. The censor board should have been responsible over here, A. B, I think it is important for religious leaders of all religions to continuously talk about what is it that we are talking in religion. We are talking about respect, we are talking about love, and we are talking about hope and peace. So if we are not going to be continuously talking about it, but we are polarizing it, then problem is there everywhere in all religion. What are we doing with our young people? How many young people are on the streets fighting for somebody else's, some kind of a, like Rahul Ishwar pointed out, it is nuanced. Now that nuanced, subjective, sensitive understanding is being abused and weaponized. Should we allow it? And that's a question both you and I have to ask.
That's a great question, and I think we will, leave the show on that front. But, before I let you go, Brindaji, a little question, sort of an information take on a personal note. You've been speaking to some of these victims as well. You're a women's rights activist yourself. How does one out there who doesn't have a better understanding of this, doesn't have the nuanced perspective like you and Rahul do, how does one differentiate between genuine cases of exploitation and consensual interfaith relationships that may be misinterpreted or misrepresented, in the national headlines? How does one make that distinction?
That will come only with investigation. Because you and I know that in relationships, there are some promises made, but all the time a lot of compromises that are made. Now, somewhere along the line, one partner was pushed to an edge. And so now they say, okay, we'll go and see how to handle it. So we have our lawyers, and they need to also be educated and told, look at the case, go through every part of it, and then say, okay, this is the truth, and let us file a case against either being pressurized or being forced to do whatever it might be. And then we want to tell the families of both partners, please don't push on religion. It's a personal issue. It's not that I'm going to be, a bad daughter-in-law because I'm a Christian, or I'm going to be a bad son-in-law because I'm a Muslim. Both families have to understand these things. And you and I know that there are many such families that are living in great harmony. It is time for us to have conversations and not be judgmental.
And highlight that harmony as well. Before we finally wrap this segment up, the timing of this trailer, Kerala going to polls, Tamil Nadu elections, the political timing of it all. Would you like to throw some light on that? What's your opinion on that front?
Absolutely. So this is not the first time such a movie has come out just before elections. And that is why we want to find out what is this political, religious connotations and patronage that we give for a release of a film. Now that was unheard of earlier, but it's coming out of late. My state is doing that, your state is doing that. you are making a mockery of citizens.
Yep.
You are making a mockery of the fans who say, okay, my actor is there and I'm going to watch this film because I believe or I trust and I'm in love with that actor. You're making a mockery of all of us.
Okay.
Should I allow it?
All right. Vrindaji, many thanks for taking out the time and speaking to us, honestly on this particular front. Rahul Ishwar, also author and activist, was with us, throwing some of those submissions out there. Is this cinema confronting a difficult social reality, or is this cinema scripting a narrative that risks hardening divides? Well, we'll leave you with that question, and that question is in your interest. With that, it's a wrap on IYI tonight. We're going to see you again tomorrow. Many thanks for watching.
This isn't a trail of peace. This is pressure overload. A hill built for 1,000, forced to carry lakhs.
Instead of lightening the footprint, you have allowed people to actually get into every nook and corner of the Himalayas.
Careless travel, choking hills. If we don't change now, there won't be much left to enjoy.
We need to follow the Bhutan model, regulate people who can access hills.
News9 presents Heal the Hills, continuous coverage.
Bangladesh is on edge. Protesters also targeted symbols of Bangladesh's political history.
Mr. Yunus is being the new Jinnah of Bangladesh.
What defines this mob? Who are these people? Where do they come from? Pratham Alo, the newspaper, has also called it a terror attack.
Yunus is the Osama bin Laden of today's world.
The state has no strength, or those who are on the street are the state themselves. There's nothing called spontaneous mob. There's a theory called you keep the pot boiling.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
Visuals on your screens, ladies and gentlemen, beaming you live from the Bharat Mandapam, the big India Impact AI Summit 2026, and that's the Prime Minister Narendra Modi welcoming the foreign dignitaries and world leaders at the Bharat Mandapam in the national capital for the India AI Impact Summit. Amongst the high-profile guests, as you can see on your screens, were United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. The Prime Minister also hosted a formal dinner for the visiting heads of state and government leaders ahead of the summit's official proceedings, setting the tone for what is being projected as a landmark global AI gathering. Take a look at some of those top names from across the world on your screens, visuals from the Bharat Mandapam. This is day 3, and the spotlight shifts to the research and real-world applications, a major research symposium that is bringing together leading academics. We're talking about scientists, policy experts, all of them to present cutting-edge artificial intelligence studies and evidence-based policy ideas. At the same time, industry sessions are showcasing scalable AI solutions, live deployments, and future-ready innovations by global tech giants and various startups. Visuals on your screens, the Prime Minister welcoming the world leaders at the AI Summit. India has also set a Guinness World Record for the AI Responsibility Campaign. Earlier, Union Minister